What's up with it, y'all? We back with another one. Got Mr. Jackson, Mr. Stamper here, trying to bring it together. It's been a little minute. I've been wanting to do this for a little second. We both have. I kind of want to go into a different subject today, just with a couple of recent activities, and I also want to go into some good stuff because we do got a couple new kids signed up. But I want to talk about, Gene, how do you gauge your investment in kids? And even speaking in the eye, speaking for myself, like when do I feel all the way like secure and good about going all in or standing all the way behind the kid? So I guess I want to start a question and say like I don't know, like what gets you fired up and excited about like showing up? I mean, even though you already do that, but like what's one situation where it's like, okay, I gotta help this kid, you know what I mean, and I can see something in him. I wanna try to get him right.
I want to start with the topic before I go there.
Okay.
Because you said what makes you want to invest into a kid, and I break down investment. If we think about it financially or monetary, we always think, am I going to get something out of this? If I put my money into that, am I going to lose it or am I going to get it back? And one of the things we've always learned, if we want to go through all of the critical thinking and all of the slick conversations, they always say, money you can always get back, time you can never get back. So if we're investing our time into people to see them become better, and what does that return look like? We don't get the time back. Mm-hmm. And I think so when you're putting into people, you're trying to see, is their life going to become better? Are you going to become better as a mentor or a teacher or whatever you might be? Are you going to be better? So let's say that person doesn't get where you want them to be. Did you grow? Did it challenge you enough to change some of your viewpoints and thoughts? Yeah, so
sure.
I think I'm more on that. What is the investment we're going to get out of this person? Do we change their family? Do we change them? Do we change the group or the society that they're around?
No, I love that. I think my goal going in, especially the initial point, is just changing the perspective. Whether it be their perspective on themselves, what their future looks like. Like, you don't know how many times since I've been here where it'd be like, guy be like, hey, I can go to school, I can go to college. Like, yeah, college is free, bro. You know what I mean? Like, junior college is free. Like, seeing the seriousness in them, when they like honestly don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like, damn, like, yeah, bro, you have more options than what you think. So yeah, that's one of my big ones. But also the perspective of self. I feel like, and no knock on the students. I just feel like just where we are in our environment, based on what they've seen, this is kind of like what we feel like we're only going to be allowed to reach. You know what I mean? Sometimes. So being able to go take a guy to a museum or to a fair or something, and now he didn't ran across somebody for a job or whatever, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know I can jump into that. You know what I mean? Or just introducing them to different activities and then letting them find excitement in it.
But you spoke two pieces there that I thought were heavy. You talked about perspective and his reality. So we understand perspective is your reality. So if I'm walking in and I see my wife hugging a guy and kissing him on the cheek and he's walking out, my perspective is going to be completely skewed to what might actually be happening.
Yeah.
And so same thing in our neighborhoods. We have to go over there and say, how many people do we see that look like us? Let's just go in our home situations alone. How many of our people who have went to college and graduated and something's come of that? And so once again, their reality and their perspective of that reality are two different things. I was just thinking about this the other day. There's somebody I personally know that won the lottery. That's not normal. Yeah. As when we normally go, that's off some off-where place in some distant land, like, is anybody really winning that? Sure, yeah. So we don't even know if it's real, right? And so then when you know somebody who actually won, you're like, wow, okay, that's something.
And it's crazy when you say that, as far as like with the college thing, because you make me think of like, they get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm here, but is it really gonna like work out for me? You know what I mean? And it's like that doubt is so heavy because, I've heard from the mentors and all these people that you can go to school and all that, but they haven't seen it in their own reality, in our own homes. I mean, like, I didn't graduate college. My mom didn't, I don't really know anybody in my family that has graduated college. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm 15 and you're telling me all this good stuff, it's like, man, it sounds good, but that seems so far away from what I'm actually going through right now. And I think that's where we're good at. It's kind of understanding that maybe the intent is there, but it's just like, it seems so far away for them sometimes. I mean, so having to be like, all right, I'm with you to go through the long run. You know what I mean?
But do you think it seems so far away, or do you think it doesn't even seem real? Because
it's more, it doesn't seem real.
Right, because I think about this. This is something I've seen in East Palo Alto, in Oakland, I've seen in San Jose, where you have our kids that are top of the class. They don't even fit in their neighborhood, right? They're really on this chase, and then they end up at that school that all of the affluent kids go to, and all of a sudden they go from here to here. And I don't even think it has to do with education at that point. I think it has to do with belonging. When I'm sitting in that room and there's nobody that looks like me, there's nobody that identifies like me.
I shouldn't even be here.
Yeah. And then you're sitting here and go, so when I go out to lunch, I'm not even around those kids. When I go out to lunch, the stuff they like is so different than me. I feel out of place. And then when I try to fit and I come back around mine, what happens? Oh, you trying to act like this. Oh, man, you just sold out. And then all of a sudden, I start having these questions. We have one of our youth right now that was a good kid, did the whole Tinsley program, went over and went to school at Pally, and used to only being around those type of kids on that side. And then his parents put him out in a different school where he's around more kids like from the neighborhood he grew up in, and he found this identity crisis that he was struggling with. And he started overly acting out, overly doing things to try to fit in. Like, dude, you're smart. You're an AP kid. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
But you're trying to prove something, so you're lost in the sauce somewhere.
And I'm happy that you brought that up, because I think that's definitely something I underestimate is the importance of belonging. You know what I mean? Like, for this place, I'm going to just speak on, like, when I walk in here, this feels like home. You know what I mean? I don't know how many places each one of our kids has that feels like home. You know what I mean? So it's like you said, yeah, I got the grades for this place, but I'm looking around and it's like, don't none of these people even look like they relate to me. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you start to question yourself. I remember I used to get on my nerves when I was a kid. My grandma used to always make me tell family members when they came to visit what I wanted to be when I was growing up. And I wanted to be an architect, right? But like, fast forward, I'm 35, I'm like, I don't know any architects, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't even know where I got that dream from. You know what I mean? But as I got older and older and older, it was just like, it slowly got to the point where it like seemed far away to not even a reality.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And no knock on architects or the dream, you know what I mean? But that was just me being in my innocence or whatever. And I don't know, saying that right now sounds wrong, but I wish I would have, kind of believed in it a little bit more, to at least try.
So where I think I can stop you is there's a saying. It's one of the most powerful sayings I've ever heard. And you're that kid that wanted to be an architect. How many kids in the inner city do that? But there was a piece that had you there. And everybody else, it wasn't their world, right? So you felt out of place. And then you went the wrong way. And that saying was, a child that does not feel accepted will burn down the village to feel its warmth. And I was like, look at us. We will act out to be seen. We would destroy things to be seen. And that's insane. But it's that powerful and it's real. And we have to go, what did you lose? I wanted to be a fireman. I remember walking down the street and we get the little plastic fireman hat. I wanted to be a police officer because you could ride around in a car and you got to carry a gun, and then you grow up and all these things they don't fit you, they don't look like you, or the community has made them wrong.
For sure.
And once again, we allow something to burn down that dream for us. And then we would destroy it to be accepted by those who haven't even accepted themselves.
And I think I want to add to that, as far as like with the police and the fire department thing. Let's say I am a child and I want to be a police officer or a firefighter, and by the time I'm 15, 16, everybody in my neighborhood hates the police and hates the firefighters. You know what I mean? So now it's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to be this anymore. You know what I mean? And now I might have to prove to you guys that I don't want to be this anymore. So like you said, I'm doing little things to over show my, you know what I mean? Like it's definitely hard. What would you say is our responsibility to the kids as mentors?
people might disagree with me, but I go from the life coaching mindset. I think we should expect nothing but what they want. So therefore, if I'm going to go to you, who do you want to be? What do you want to be? What does that look like? And my job is for you, help you discover what you're saying and where does that fit into the job field, into any kind of world you want to be into. What does that look like? What does that look like socially? What does that look like financially? What does that look like long term? Yeah. And then the job is to have you to walk with me. So you want to be an artist. Okay, so when I see you next week, show me the kind of art you want. You come back, you show me that, then my job is to go find that so we can make sure you can get to that. And then once we get there, so what do you want to do with it? Now you got to show me the jobs and stuff that it looks like. At the same time, I'm going to find the same thing, but I don't show you what I'm going to bring. You got to show me what you did. So if you did the work and you showed me you cared about the work, then I can give you how far I dug and the resource I can help you with. But I need to know you are going to put skin in the game, that over this next week or two, you're going to go look these things up because it matters to you.
For sure.
And it can't matter more than me, because I think a lot of us as mentors and coaches and everything else, I think we love on people at our adulthood and at our level of understanding and knowing they're not there yet. And if they're not willing to do the work, then they're not ready yet. And so we don't get burnt out, and so they don't get burned out to the point where they don't want to work or walk with us, right? So we have to do those points.
Yeah, I feel like that was right on the nose. I think about speaking for myself, especially lately, I've been like saying to all the kids, like, what do you need? You know what I mean? And how do I make sure, or how do we make sure that we help you to run your program? If I was talking to Emmy right now, I would tell Emmy to do what works for her and not what works for mom or for dad or for the teacher. You know what I mean? Like, you like to do your homework at this time. You like to work out. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like as adults, yeah, we do know mostly the right from wrong, but you don't know if a kid sleeps early or, you know what I mean? So it's just like, that's what I try to do in my mentoring, is like, be the biggest resource for them in their needs, like you said, because we don't know what everybody's goal is.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So we can't just be like everybody that walks in this room, our goal is graduating college. You know what I mean? Because some of them is different. But being able to be there, I think is one of the things that I take most pride in. Because sometimes it's not about helping them with homework. Sometimes it's just about being an ear or whatever. You know what I mean? So trying to definitely meet them where they at. But my most encouraging thing I try to say is like, take advantage of me so I can help you to do what works for you. You know what I mean? And not with everybody else.
And I want to piggyback and say something that you were saying. I just don't think you elaborated enough on it. You said, what do they want to do? And then I want to help them do what they want to do. And I always look at, you're a coach, I'm a coach. And one of the things that we always do is like, this kid has this little juke move. So we got them on ladders working juke moves. We got them on cones. So we're showing them how to do what they already do and what they like to do. We're showing them how to make it a little bit better. We're showing them exercises to make the muscle stronger from that. We're teaching them reaction time so they don't have to spend 3 hours on something that should have took 30 minutes.
For sure.
So our job is to help them create that and become better at those pieces. So I agree with you there, and that's why I think coaches are so important. I think teachers that just don't teach from a textbook mindset, but teaches from an influential mindset are the best teachers, because they're showing you how do you become great being you. Like, wow, you use these powerful words and you're so descriptive, but then you just go run on. Let's stop it here so they can digest that. And then we take off. We're not saying get rid of it, but let them catch that. Put a comma. Let them go like, and then we restart, and then it wins. And I think that's where we lose them sometimes. Yeah. We lose them in that translation. And where I say that, it's like you'll watch kids come home and their work will be marked up, and you see them bothered. Like, oh, the teacher said this and this, and we're like, this was powerful. All the teacher wants you to do was make it so she could digest one piece before the next. If we say it like that and say, oh, I don't know what the teacher is doing, we have to make sure that we find a way to give those other teachers that may not have our teaching styles or our are inviting personalities, we have to give them a foot to stand on, because our youth will have to deal with them in the real world, whether it's at school, whether it's at higher education, or whether it's in the workplace. So we have to make sure that we're teaching the others. Like we always talk about, you said earlier, we were taught the police were bad. If we aren't doing anything wrong, even if the cops pulled us over, we got a license, we're probably okay. If we don't have any dope in our pocket, we don't have a gun, we're probably going to be okay. So we're inconvenienced for a couple minutes. And after a while, when they get to see us enough, they stop moving with us. And so it's us putting ourselves into a position to understand they had a job. We hired them for that job. Whether we hired or not, somebody did. They felt they were needed. So how do we get them to the point where they look, I used to be messing with 24/7. Yeah. I don't think I've been pulled over in here like a long time for no reason. I caught myself speeding sometimes, and I'm like, I should have had 30 tickets back. And I think I've carried myself far enough understanding, like, hey, catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
For sure.
And I think we got to do that for a teaching point.
And I think that's where we are. I'm going to give ourselves some pats on our backs. I think we're different than most mentors and teachers, because I do believe that you are with me with relationship over instruction. You know what I mean? Like, we are getting to know these dudes, and we are letting these dudes get to know us, or young ladies too. You know what I mean? To where it's like, I'm not talking to you from a big me stance. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to you from I've been through that, and maybe you could skip this step if you kind of pay attention to how I went through it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is the most powerful thing, because now we're meeting them at their level, instead of like authoritative tone. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, I feel you. I've already done crashed and, you know what I mean, burnt myself a couple of times. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what opens up the door a little bit more, when they're like, okay, you're actually human.
Yeah.
You're not talking to me like you got all the answers. Feel me? And I'd say that about you all the time. Like, the way you move is crazy. Like, you do a lot, man. You do a lot. And when you were telling me last night about, people bring your name up and stuff, I'm just like, it's funny to me, because I hear it all the time too. And it's like, I'm using the Gene Carr. I work with Gene, man. That's my mentor, man. Like, you know what I mean? So, but again, right, that I'm only able to do that because of all the footwork. You know what I mean? Like, without the footwork, the name doesn't carry any weight. And I think that's how we able to get with the kids, because like we establish them relationships.
But speaking on that, it's like with you keep saying the footwork. Like, I would go to the rugby game, DJ's running off the field around the side, going to the football game, DJ's and off the field. We're going to these little college expos and these youth summit things, and DJ's all over the place. And so you're being seen by the youth, and you're seen by the adults. So you being there and you being present, those things alone make people look like, oh, he belongs. And then once you belong, the door's open. They don't close behind you. They don't have that little thing that makes the door shut and lock. The door is open to you. And I think that's important. Being there, showing up. We keep talking about relational with our youth, but it's also relational with the other leaders. It's relational with the people who control, whether it's the government, whether it's that control system all the way around, that we have to make sure that on both sides see us. So parents are looking for me, but then probation say, hey, Eugene, can you help this youth? The police are coming saying, hey, I don't want to lock this kid up. Will you take him? And then all of a sudden you're like, wow. So if everybody in the circle is talking about us, and then you talk about me, I've been doing this for so long. Look at your name now. It's on that same tip. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, oh, Gene, if you can't do it, can DJ do it? Crack up this, and it's going to be like that fast. Because you're there. It's about being present. And it's about being emotional. It's like, I remember like when people are like, DJ's too emotional. DJ, I'm like, because he cares. It's kind of like when you look at a relationship. When the person in a relationship quits caring if you come home or not, the one that when you did something isn't bothered anymore, that's when you have to worry. That's when you have to worry, because they may not mentally be there anymore. We are so like, oh my God, you're killing me.
No, and it's funny you said that, because I actually told a kid that, like, man, don't let me quit on you.
Yes.
Get worried when I stop coming to talk to you.
Yes.
Because I mean, I just kind of like wash my hands, you know what I mean? And of course, it's a scare tactic, you know what I mean? But it's just like sometimes we have to let them know. And I think we earn that. Mm-hmm. I would definitely say that you earned that. To where it's like, if you don't show me that you care about me, you could never tell me the truth about myself. I don't care what you say. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't respect you and feel like you trust me and like, or feel like I trust you and love you, vice versa, you could be reading the Bible to me. I'm not gonna take it. You know what I mean? So it's like, shout out to you, man, and making sure that, and showing me, like, man, once we establish that, that's when we can dig into the root of things. I mean, but first we gotta let them know that we're here for them, and not just an attack. You know what I mean? I hate to get those phone calls from you parents where it's like, hey, fix my kid. It's like, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta get to know this dude first and see what the battle is. You know what I mean?
It's also tones. We talked about energy. There's a room I walk into and I can feel the kid's energy, and I can feel like, what's this fool? Like, you know, and I can feel it, and they don't know me, they can care less, and I feel their energy. So when I first go into the room, it's like my automatic force field. You know, I gotta come in, and then I gotta find whose eyes can I catch, or what can I do, and how do I get them to drop theirs, and then I can start to move in, and I can start to flow. And I think about parents, and like you said, how can you help my kid? I think the parents are saying the right thing most of the time. But their tone has become so hard. I was actually talking about this last night. Is love and respect, and most of us are so tight on that word respect. And you're going to respect me, even to the point it might be fear, and you don't win from that. You have to love me where it kills you when you see my eyes and I'm sad.
And I'm disappointed.
Yeah, and that bothers you because then it's
that's way more powerful than
way
fear.
more. And we talk about kingdoms like that. We talk about whole kingdoms are scared of this dictator. And they will not do anything because they're afraid of dying. But once they've had enough, they will help them fall. They will help them be destroyed. But when they love a king, the whole place will go die with them. They don't want to live without them. And so those are pieces that we got to be that piece that they love. And then we understand we're going to catch them sooner or later. Sooner or later, like we said, we always talk about get it now, get it later, or never get it. We got to keep getting it because I don't care if you're 40 and you get it. We got you.
For sure.
Beautiful thing is like one of our young ladies, you know, she's now a dispatch.
Okay.
She's been on our program for 10 years. She's graduated. She's went to the college route. She's went to the gap year route. She's done all the stuff. It hasn't done great. And always, and to the point where you could see some of the programs starts like, okay, she now is at the top of the, she's probably gonna start pulling in about 120,000 a year. Her whole world's gonna completely change. And she comes from a trailer park. She comes from a bunch of drug addicts, and she comes from all these different things. She's going to be the first thing in her whole family that has a success rate. Her kids won't even believe the stories she tells when she has her life in. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching her there, and I'm watching these people that are people, top of the line people sitting there, oh man, she's awesome. The whole place loves her. Oh, she's just that. This girl's moved faster through the way. And I'm just sitting inside going like, and so many people start to give up on her. And she's finally found it. And it's us. Stuff like that makes me say, okay, maybe it takes them 10 years. Maybe it takes 15.
Yeah.
But they're going to find it.
Sure.
And we're going to make sure we're there for them to find it.
What I love about that story right there is like, what was blowing big in my ears is like, she had 101 reasons why she shouldn't have succeeded.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure I won't believe her story after I meet her. But that is like, why I think, I ain't gonna say the work is easy, but the work is worth it.
Worth it.
Because you know, like, you can crack the code. Like, I know some guys that have had to, like, overcome some stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's definitely all I could hear right there. Was just like, man, she had so many reasons to quit, to, you know, make excuses for herself, and she still found the way. To wrap it up, I want to ask you, when it comes to you dealing with a student, what does success look like to you in that mentoring relationship?
I think success, I used to put success by how well they do overall. Now success is how they do at each piece. Let's say they're messing up at school relationally and doing stuff that we consider you shouldn't be doing and getting bad grades. Let's say their grades aren't doing better, but now they're changing their social behavior. That's a win. Let's say their social behavior is still jacked up, but their grades are getting better. I'm taking every little win you get there.
For sure.
I'm gonna take every little win. Because
sure.
every win means you grasped onto something, which means the other things will come.
Yeah.
They will come.
Yeah.
And as you keep going, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing great, I'm doing this, I'm doing great, and all of a sudden, there's 50 people that look like me in this room, then there's 20, then there's 10, then there's 1. Oh, wow, I've successed myself up. And I've successed myself into a different way of thinking. And then our job is to make sure now there's not just one of you, now there's 10 of you in that room, because we got you that way, and are you the catalyst that walks it? Because you made it, all the rest of them believe they could. You know, and it's that part, like if you go to a gym and they have this gym on the other side of, and this could be the most awesome trainers in the world, but if they had nobody that was successful in anything, this person never made the Olympics, this person never won a championship, then that gym could be great, but we're gonna down it because they have nobody successful.
No winners, yeah.
Then you could have this sorry gym on the other side, but the guy was an Olympian, or the guy was a runner-up. And it could be the garbage gym, but we're going to give it a success model because that guy was successful, even though he couldn't bring successful people out. And so we have a habit of doing that, where we have to make sure that one gym, you sit down there long enough to see it become what it's supposed to, with the right training, and then all of a sudden the floodgates will flow that way.
Sure.
And it's just not giving up on them before their time. Because I remember Fortune 500 magazine, I was reading probably about 10, 15 years ago, said, everybody who comes up with an idea can be successful. Nobody ever sees it through. And that's what Fortune 500 said. So why are we giving up too soon? We got a lifetime with them. I don't care if they get it at 80 and they leave a success model for their family.
For sure.
Our job is just to never give up. That's why Bob Hoover in 90-something never gives up. The last class we taught the kids was written by Bob.
Yeah.
I just put it in the kids' words. 93-year-old man wrote a curriculum that kids spoke 3 hours about. Powerful.
For sure, for sure. Take the footwork.
That part.
We're going to be back on another one, y'all. Thank you for having us. You already know, man. Living Peace Podcast. See you soon. That was nice, Gene. That was a hit.